Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 1 of What If Deku Was Adopted by Mirko. If you notice some errors or some missing parts in the video, please tell me in the comment down below. Hope you'll enjoy the video. Mirko POV. It's been over a few months since I became a pro and was able to make my own agency. Most of the class became sidekicks or something after graduating before becoming real pros. Today, I was asked by my friend Ryuko to do a patrol together in the city of Mustafa. Damn, this is boring. Can someone rob a bank or hold someone hostage? This patrol is weak. Patience, Mirko. Not every patrol needs action. The fact it's so calm is proof that crime is low in the city. Yeah. We keep walking with nothing really happening. There could at least be some kind of action or something to liven the mood. While talking, I hear some kind of whimper nearby. You hear that? Ryuko tries to listen closely for not hearing it. Oh yeah, enhanced hearing sucks when you can only hear it. I begin jumping to the area, finally getting some kind of excitement today. Once I get to where it is, I see nothing in an alley to start looking around. I know I heard it in here. Maybe my ears need a cleaning or something. I start putting my pinky into my ear to pull some wax out before seeing a bag of trash move. Looking over, I notice what looked like a kid that couldn't be over 5 years old in the trash. Hey kid, you okay? I walk over to see him crying with some weird stuff covering his right eye. The hell is this? Mirko, you should be more patient. Ryuko comes over to see the kid as I start wiping whatever the hell was on his face. Mirko, don't. Huh. I slightly touch it for whatever it was to rip off. Ah. The kid started to scream in pain as his face started bleeding. What the hell? That isn't dirt, it's infection. We need to take him to a hospital now. I take a little towel I had to cover where his face opened and ran as fast as I could to the nearest hospital. Once there, I ran directly into the emergency room section, scared how bad the kid's face was. My name's Mirko, the rabbit hero. This kid's really hurt and needs help right now. I almost shouted this through pants as a doctor came over to pull the kid out of my chest to show the infection on his face, pull off some more in my panic. His face was now covered in his own blood, with his one eye open to almost look demonic from this. Holy crap. Thank you, we'll take it from here. The doctor took the kid deep in the hospital for me to finally look down and see all the blood that came off of him on me. The top part of my costume was completely stained red with some black chunks of what was on his eye on me. I've beaten villains to a bloody pulp before, but this was something that scared me. This wasn't someone that deserved it, this was a kid, for God's sake. I began to walk to the waiting room thinking about everything that happened so far. Jackass. Why didn't you take a closer look before ripping the damn infection off? The kid was crying for a reason. I kept smacking my head while calling myself an idiot before Ryuko came in. How's the kid? The doctors are taking care of him now, but he was bleeding a lot after we got here. Ryuko's eyes widened seeing the kid's blood on me. I began to sit down while holding my head, making such a rookie mistake. I should have known that would have happened. You didn't know. If you did, you would have never touched his face and brought him right here. This isn't your fault, Rumi. I know, but it's just not right. He's a kid. I know. But when is the world always right? We sat there for what felt like forever trying to wait for some light for the kid to show up. Few hours later, a doctor came over to us with a clipboard in his hands. Are one of you two the pro that found the boy? I am. I stood up when he asked this. Is the kid gonna be alright? It's too early to say. We were able to get the outer infection pulled off and sterilize the cut on his face. However, he's running a very high fever due to his body trying to fight it. We're keeping him on some antibiotics for now and reducing his fever. We're gonna watch him for a few days so his body reacts positively to the antibiotics. But if the infection doesn't subside, we may need to pull the skin off where the cut is and remove his eye. Is there any other way besides that if the infection doesn't subside? Ryuko speaks up hearing this. Sadly, no. If he does react well, he will suffer some slight blindness in his right eye due to this. The doctor gave us some papers after saying this. From what we were also able to look up from blood records, the boy's name is Izuku Midoriya and is 6 years old. We also discovered he was suffering from malnutrition and severe dehydration to a state he's very lucky you found him when you did, or he may have not lived to see another day. He walks away with both me and Ryuko looking at the papers. Says here his quirk's something called pack leader. Can use the quirks of people who are deemed his friends. We looked at the residence of the kid and that his parents are still around. I wonder why he was on the streets. Ryukyu, you wanna talk to the kid's parents with me? I think that would be necessary. They should have noticed something if the infection on his eye was this bad. We began to walk out of the hospital in the direction of the address we were given. At the Midoriya residence. Once we found our way to the door, we began to knock to have it opened to a man with green hair and stubble. "Can I help you? Mr. Midoriya, I presume?" "Yeah. It's nice to meet you, sir. My name is Ryukyu and this is my friend Mirko. Earlier today, we found your son in an alleyway with a very bad infection to a point he needed medical help. We aren't here to judge, but we were wondering how it would have gotten so bad without being professionally looked at." He looked at us blankly before answering. "I don't have a son." He tried to shut the door in our faces before I grabbed it to push open. "Look, sir, we were gonna do this the easy way and not cause a problem. But if this is how you're gonna act, then we'll do this the hard way." He gets at this point we are not going away and allows us in. We walk into the house to see a woman in the house with green hair and eyes. "I'm sorry for intruding, but we found your son in an alley with a very bad cut on his face that was infected to a state it needed medical treatment quickly. We wanted to know why it had gotten so bad under your watch." The woman looked at us like we were crazy. "How are we supposed to know?" "What? My husband threw the useless brat out 2 years ago when we found out what his quirk was." "Why?" Ryuko asked us, a little irritated with the guy answering. "He needs to rely on people for his strength, it's useless." Hearing this enraged me. "So you threw him out because of it? What else were we gonna do? The kid's nothing but a useless brat that should have given us easy money. But he had to get a useless quirk that needs others to look at him favorably for no apparent reason." I shut him up after grabbing his neck. "Listen here, you fucking shitrags. That kid is fighting for his right to live, and all you can think about is him not giving you an easy life. That's bullshit." I was floored at them. They not only threw their kid out, but they show absolutely no emotion to him when he was in a hospital. I start walking over to the mother to glare her down. "How can you just throw a kid you had away like he was some piece of garbage? He has as much of a right to live a happy life as you or me. Simple. We just tossed him out the door and locked it until he accepted it and left." I punch her in the face with this comment no longer able to hold how pissed I was back. I don't care what happens after. But if that kid doesn't manage to pull through with the best outcome, I say the next part with as much menace as I could. "I'm coming for you too and making you suffer the same fate he would." I walk to the door before turning around. "Ryukyu, we're done here." She follows me out as we walk out of the area. That threat was too much, Rumi. What if they press charges on you? You could lose your hero license because of it. I'm fine with that, but I'm not fine with what they did to this kid. She sighs at this before saying the next thing. "He'll be in foster care if this is the case. I'd avoid doing anything to make things worse for him going forward." I thought on this while she said this. Is there any way he won't be in an orphanage? The only way is if someone adopts him before that. Chances of that happening, though, are very unlikely. 2 weeks later. As the days passed, I regularly visited the hospital to see how the kid was doing. Fortunately, he was getting better. The problem was the blindness that the doctor mentioned. He's gonna have a hard life going forward. Today though, the doctor allowed me to visit him. I brought some food that Ryuko made herself since I can't cook to save my life and she thought a home-cooked meal would liven his spirits a little. As I opened the door, he looked at me with his unbandaged eye with fear. "Who are you?" "It's okay, my name's Mirko. I was the hero that found you and wanted to know if you were okay." I held out the small container of food to also show him. "A friend of mine made this for you. She's a good cook, so it should taste a lot better than what the hospital's given you." He was hesitant before his stomach growled. "Going hungry isn't good when you're recovering. Eat and you'll feel better." I brought the food over with some plastic utensils for him to go directly into the food with his hands. "Snort, I like your style, kid. Straight to the point when doing something." He didn't get it with food all over his face and his cheeks puffed with his mouth full. I grabbed a small paper towel Ryuko packed thinking this might happen to wipe his face. "Your name's Izuku, right?" He looks at me and nods. "You're 6, right?" He nods again with it seeming like he's trusting me with a bit. "Where do you live?" He holds his head down while swallowing what's in his mouth to answer. "Nowhere." This broke my heart hearing him say this. "Can you tell me why your parents did what they did?" "They said my quirk is worthless and threw me out." Sniffle, I didn't mean to have a bad quirk. It just happened. He started to cry a little at this. "Why did I have to say this? I did a little research on your quirk. It sounds really cool." "It's not." "Heck yeah, it is. You can be a one-man army if you have a lot of friends. I actually envy your quirk." He looked at me confused for a second. You envy my quirk? Yeah, it's awesome. All my quirk does is let me hop around and gives me rabbit ears and a tail. I turned around to show the cotton ball of a tail I have. I was kinda picked on because of this when I was your age. One of the more prominent names I had was Petra Cottontail, like Peter Cottontail. How did you become a pro though? I trained hard and got better with it to a point I couldn't lose. Now my feed are registered villain death threats. I do a karate kick pose to make the kid laugh a little. I sat back down to try and talk to him a little more. How did you get the cut on your eye? He held his hand over his face. I was looking for food in a garbage and some mean guy cut my eye with a broken bottle. When did this happen? He thought on it before shrugging his shoulders. It was before snow was falling, but it was cold. Then sometime in autumn. Wait, you rummaged through garbage for food? He nodded. I found a lot of food people throw away. Not very tasty, but I wasn't hungry anymore. I was kinda impressed how far this kid went to survive for 2 years. What's gonna happen to me now? He looks at me concerned. 2 options. The first is you go to an orphanage. I can't tell you what will happen after that, but it's gotta be better than on the streets. He began to cry a little at this. Or we go with the second option. It's a little hard of a decision and one I can't guarantee is better. He stares at me uneasy with the answer. Option 2 is I take you in. By law, I'd be your legal guardian. But I really don't know how to be a parent yet, so I can't tell you I'll be a good option. But I will try, and will tell you for a fact I'll make mistakes. He was crying again while looking at me. You'll take care of me? You won't kick me out, will you? I shook hearing this. No, I won't. I may make mistakes, but I will never do that. I will promise you that. He reached to hug me while crying in my chest. Please let me live with you. This act made me cry a little. Knowing he'll want to live with me, even though I will without a doubt screw something up, made me happy. I hugged him back before we both glowed white for some reason. When he let go, I noticed he had rabbit ears and a little green tail popping out where mine would. What just happened? I have ears and a tail like you. Must be your quirk. This just proves I want to help you. He started to smile at me with a warm-hearted smile. Thank you, Mama. Hearing this made it feel like an arrow went through my chest. That's gonna need some getting used to. As the weeks went by, I was able to legalize everything with Izuku and introduce him to Ryuko, who agreed to help as his aunt with a similar light happening to her. This time though, it was yellow with Izuku turning into a 10-feet dragon after. To say we were spooked a bit by this was an understatement, but we learned to accept this quickly. Once he was released from the hospital, I brought him to my home with him looking around to familiarize himself. Bathroom's the first door on the left, my room's the next one down, and yours is the one across from mine. I brought him over to the rooms to show with him hugging me the second he saw his room. That night, we ordered a little takeout before I gave him the medicine the hospital prescribed for any lingering infection and for his lack of nutrients. Once we were done, we both got ready for bed with me tucking him in. Good night, Izuku. Mama? Can you sleep with me tonight? The feeling of being skewered in my heart again came back seeing Izuku's scared face. Okay, but let's not make this a habit. He nods as I get in his bed with him. He hugs me tight as I get comfy. Good night, Izuku. Good night, Mama. He quickly fell asleep with me looking at the roof. This is going to take some getting used to. Mirko POV, alright, finally done. Once breakfast was done for Izuku, I went to make sure he was up. Izuku, breakfast is ready. I glanced into his room to not see him. Maybe he's in the bathroom. I went to the bathroom next to see him on a stepping stool looking into the mirror. He was looking at the scar that his eye had from the cut rather intently. Poor kid. He should have never had to get that scar. About 2 months passed with Izuku coming to live with me with the cut on his eye healing enough, where all that was left was a scar. He does have problems seeing through his eye a little, but the scar was what bothered him the most. To be honest, Ryuko had to keep me from going back to the Midoriyas and slashing their eyes to match Izuku's. But I was calm and didn't. They're lucky though I didn't have charges pressed on them for endangering a child. The only reason they're getting away with it is because neither me or Ryuko think Izuku can mentally handle that. To be honest, I don't think that would make Izuku feel better either. It may make him feel worse about the scar seeing as it caused so much trouble for him and others. Izuku? He immediately stopped looking in the mirror to see me in the doorframe. Breakfast is ready. Hurry or you're gonna be late for your first day of school. Yes, Mama. He climbed off the stepping stool and put it away before walking into the kitchen with me behind him. It isn't Aunt Ryu's, but it's edible at least. I placed a plate of eggs and bacon in front of Izuku that were kinda burnt. He took a bite with a face being made. Should have tried for cereal since it doesn't take me 5 times to make something that doesn't set off smoke alarms. It tastes great. Izuku smiles as he holds down my crappy cooking. So are you excited to start school today? He shakes at this, telling me just how scared he was. It's okay, bud, the first day is always the hardest. You've been through rougher scrapes. I guess. At the school. As we get near the school, I turn to Izuku to tell him goodbye. Well, this is where we part ways. Be good and try to make a friend today. He starts to shake again and second guesses himself. What if people don't like me? Kids are bound to like you. You got brains, friendly when you try to be, and you're freaking adorable. But what if they make fun of my eye? Then they don't deserve you as a friend. He was really worried with this after living the way he did for so long. Sigh, look, bud, I can't help you in what will come next. All I can do is support you from the sidelines here. All I can say is that if you don't take a leap of faith, you may regret this for the rest of your life. You're gonna go in, you're gonna at least make one friend, and you're gonna be a normal kid like you should have been. But how do you know this is gonna happen? I rub his head and smile. Because I have faith in you. Izuku heard these words to smack his cheeks a bit and gain a bit of a confident look on himself. Oh, okay. I don't have confidence in myself, but I'll do this if you think it's the best. That a boy. Now give your mama a hug and kiss goodbye before you enjoy your day. He does this and walks into the school looking back at me, nervous with me just smiling at him. When he got in and was escorted by a teacher, I dropped my facade and took a deep exhale. Holy crap, that was hard. The ball's in your court, Izuku, make a friend and be a normal little kid for once. I turned to the direction of my agency, still worried about Izuku. Izuku POV, alright everyone, settle down. We have a new student joining us today. I'd like you all to give a warm welcome to Izuku Yu Sagayama. I stood in front of everyone with their stares starting to scare me. Would you like to say a little about yourself, sweetie? I started shaking with the teacher seeing this and letting me take a seat. I find a spot near the corner away from people. This kid is weird. Look at his eye. I know, scary. I put my head down, scared to say or do anything. I should have stayed home. I don't like it here. People are saying things about my eye, they talk about me when they think I'm not listening. I just want to go home. I started to cry a little as class started. Please let this be the hardest part of the day. Few hours later. Mirko POV, I sat on a bench looking at the sky, worried about Izuku. Here. I glance over to Ryuko, hand me a lunch she made. Thanks. She sat down next to me as we began eating. How was it with Izuku this morning? He was scared, but I was able to get him to go to school. I looked at some of the food and felt bad for Izuku having to fight this alone. We didn't push him too fast, did we? Rumi, he needs to make friends his own age. We can't always be there for him, and he was able to get back to the standard for his age and beyond it in a snap. I had to admit, Izuku was able to pick up grammar and math like it was second nature to him when we brought him to get some tutoring. We thought it was cause of his quirk that his brain was able to process this better since it works very differently than most. But even if he's smarter than kids his age, he's more fragile than others. But was it right to send him now? He may have survived, but that eye of his makes him very sensitive to what happened to him. I'm scared this is gonna ruin the success we worked hard to get with Izuku after everything that's happened to him. He'll be okay. Izuku is a lot tougher than we give him credit for. Any kid that survives on the streets for 2 years at the age of 4 deserves respect in my book. Right now, all he needs is confidence, and that is only obtained through these acts where his will is tested. The sooner he gets back into normal life, the better for him, and the sooner the real recovery begins. I held my chopsticks in my mouth thinking this and agreed. I just hope he holds out for the day. Kids are a little hard to predict what they'll do. Time skipped to recess, Izuku POV, the day was finally almost over with everyone going to the playground. I stayed by the sandbox which was in the far corner away from everyone. I was scared and wanted to be alone, but I wanted to be able to talk to the other kids. I didn't get it, so I just kept away from everyone. Hi. I look up to see 2 people in front of me. One was a girl with brown hair that almost covered her eyes that had X in them, and another girl with black hair and matching eyes that was avoiding looking at me. I'm Kanoko, but everybody calls me Kino Foshote. This is Yui. She doesn't talk much, but she's a good person. The girl called Yui avoided staring at me and sat next to me. Do you want to play with us? I couldn't answer, I was so happy. Somebody wants to play with me? I started to cry a little before nodding. You. Don't cry. You look happy when you smile. I wiped my eyes before nodding. What do you want to play? Let's make sand castles. Kanoko said this as we sat down to make little castles. As we were almost finished, some other kids came over to step on Yui's and Kanoko's. If it isn't the quiet girl and the mushroom girl. Hanging out with the new kid, cause you can't make better friends? A kid came over that was bigger than us to make Yui hide behind me in fear. That was mean. Apologize to Yui White now. And what are you gonna do about it, Pipsqueak? The kid pushed Kanoko into the sandbox with two other kids getting ready to fight. Where'd that courage you had go? Did it come out when you fell back? This kid was now making me mad. You know something? The weird new kid belongs with you three. Just look at that eye of his, you're nothing but losers that will never be heroes. They started laughing with Yui shaking behind me. That's not true. Izuku is nice. Nicer than you at least. If you want to find who the real losers are, look at yourselves. Everyone was silent as Yui says this. You're done for, quiet girl. The bigger kid started making his hands into rock with Yui, scared as anything for what's happening. I couldn't take much more of this, so I stood up. You stepping out of the way, new kid? Smart Mo, I punch him in the face for him to walk backwards. What the? Bad move, new guy, get him. I started to use my quirk a little to how I can use it. Remember Mama's quirk and how it works. I felt my ears turn into rabbit ears and a tail behind me. When they came after me, I jumped up and landed on this guy with his fingers turning into rubber. He fell into the dirt as the others came at me. The next to attack me was a kid with lizard scales. I tried to kick him for it to not do much. I was then punched by the boy with rock hands to fall to the ground. The best you got, new kid? My cheek hurt and I tasted blood. I wasn't happy with this taste since it reminded me of what happened to me. I got up into a kneeling position to jump at the lizard skin guy like Mama does before jumping up to stomp on him. He stopped fighting after this with only the big kid left. He was punching with me, dodging every one of them. Is running all you can do, you jerk? Fight me like the weakling you are. When he tried to tackle me, I got out of the way to jump kick him into the dirt. He didn't move after that with me breathing heavy in and out. Kino, you okay? I ran over to Kanoko to make sure she wasn't hurt. Sniffle owie. He made me swipe my knee. I looked at her knee to see a little blood coming from it. What just happened? A teacher came out to see the three bullies on the ground and Kanoko crying. It was him, teacher, he hurt us when we did nothing, that didn't happen. Yui tried to say this with the bullies making faces at us behind the teacher's back. I don't know and don't care what happened, all of you are coming with me and your parents will be called. You can take it up with them for your punishment. The teacher looked behind her at the three. That means all of you. But we didn't do anything. Then how do you explain Komori in the dirt over there? That was the new kid. The teacher didn't agree with them and just pulled them by their arms inside with her, asking us to come with her. The rest of the day was spent inside the classroom sitting for our parents to come. Few hours later, Mama walked in to see me sitting with Kanoko and Yui. Care to explain why you're picking fights with kids on your first day? Mama looked at me angry with Andrew in the door. It wasn't my fault, Mama. The mean kid was trying to hurt Kino and Yui. Mama looked at the teacher, who shook a little. You only told me it was a fight, you didn't tell me it was in defense of someone else. I didn't know. Did you ask? Our policy is to take the kids that are causing trouble away until the parents get it, so if one is only defending their self, they get punished. We didn't know. And you probably wouldn't have known because you didn't ask. Andrew comes in a little angry as well. If this is the best you can do to teach children discipline, find another job. If you're disciplining both kids the same way for something they have two different parts in, that is not right. We will make sure Izuku understands his part in this was wrong and what he should have done. Have a good day, miss. Mama came up to me and stared at me without saying anything. In a quick moment, she hit me in the head hard enough that it hurt. Oh. Next time go find a teacher. You hurt 3 kids today doing what you did today. Though in defense for 2 other kids, you should have thought this out a little better. Sniffle, sorry Mama. I held my head where she hit me before she hugged me. But I'm proud you know how to stand up for others. For that, I give it an 84 today. Let's go home. As we walked out, Kino and Yui with their parents came out to say goodbye to me. Thank you for helping us, Izu-chan. Thank you, Izu-chan. I smiled at them as I nodded. It's what a hero and my mama would do, so I can't look away when people need help. They hugged me as this happened with the feeling of this making me happy. See you, Tomoo. Kino shouted this with Yui waving goodbye with only her eyes showing above her mom's shoulder. Before they left, I felt my body go tingly like it did when I got Mama's and Andrew's quirk to start growing mushrooms on my head and grow some pebbles next to me into big rocks. Whoa. What happened to you? I think someone made two friends today. I looked at what happened and looked back at the way Kino and Yui went to smile. Thank you for being my friends. Alright, that 80's an 85 now. Let's go, we got someone waiting at home for you to meet. Mama picks me up and puts me on her shoulders as we made our way home. Once there, some big guy was hanging out outside eating. How ya two been? Why is lard butt in front of my house? I told you before Mirko, Izuku needs a male role model, so I asked Toyomitsu to come here. Mama let me down to walk up to the big man. Hello little guy, what's your name? Izuku Sagayama. He wiped his hand with a napkin he had before holding it out. It's nice to meet ya. I'm the BMI hero Fatgum. But you can just call me Toshiro if you want. I shake his hand and start to smile. So you're a pro hero like Mama and Andrew too? That's right. I start to smile seeing another pro. So this is the kid you wanted me to see, Ryuko? Yes, Izuku needs a male role model in his life. After much consideration, I thought you would be a great person to fit that job description. Ryuko POV. Rumi led us inside to where I explained Izuku's situation to Toyomitsu. When I was done, he looked at Izuku understanding why he needs a male role model more. Coming out of something like that isn't easy. The kid's got a lot of guts trusting you both enough to live with Mirko. Having to rely on your own reserves of strength at such a young age is insane. But I can tell he's becoming a normal kid again. Toyomitsu gets up to kneel in front of Izuku. So Izuku, how about I hang out with you and watch you on some occasions? If you'd like, I know some good places to eat, and I can teach you a little about being a hero. Izuku smiled from ear to ear and nodded. Can you really teach me to be a hero like Mama and Andrew? Of course. Toyomitsu smiled before Izuku started to glow a tan yellow. So that's how his quirk works? Pretty much. He'll be able to use your quirk after this. Izuku smiled as he went to hug Toyomitsu. It warmed both mine and Rumi's heart to see Izuku happy. He truly deserves this. Izuku age 14 POV. Today started out as any other in the house me and Mom share. I started breakfast for us with everything almost done. Alright, now just a little longer until good morning Izuku. Mom came at me with a jump kick to my head. As she did this, I grabbed her and pinned her to the ground while holding the spatula in my hand. Mom, you know that we shouldn't fight over the stove. Just making sure that your reflexes are at their max. She started laughing while I sighed and got off her to pour her and me a cup of coffee. Breakfast is almost ready, take a seat and I'll have it done in a minute. She does so as I place our plates on the table to start eating. Damn Izuku, you definitely know how to cook. Well, I needed to since the last time you did, you nearly burned the house down. Not true. I had everything under control. Mom pouts while I state how her having everything under control was really. So having the fire department come here with black smoke coming out of the window is under control? She flinches at this while I keep eating. Fortunately for me, I was able to learn from Andrew on how to cook. If I didn't, I may have starved to death years ago. I glanced down to see a text from Kino saying her and Yui will be outside in a few minutes. Sorry to eat and run, but Yui and Kino are gonna be here soon. I finish eating and put my plate in the dishwasher before grabbing my bag and guitar. You're still playing? Yeah, it helps me out a lot with anxiety a bit. Mom smiles before getting up to hug me. You know, it's not too late to ask Yui or Kanoko to be your girlfriend. I'm sure they could help you out with that too. What do they have to do with this? We're just friends. I start to panic as this was said to go run out the door. I'll see you later. Later. Mirko POV. As Izuku left, I grabbed my phone to send a text to Kanoko and Yui to strike today. You don't know it Izuku, but you're very liked. Kanoko and Yui want to be with you, Nejire is starting to like you. I also want to say that some pros that you met even have a thing for you. I get up to start the dishwasher before heading out to work. Please do something with this you too. This kid is denser than a brick wall. Izuku POV. As I walked outside, I was met by Kino and Yui running up to me. Izuku. Kino hugs me immediately with Yui coming over and smiling. You brought your guitar? Yeah, I was thinking of strumming a little today after school if you two want to join me. Heck yeah shroom. We would love to. They answer as we start walking. While we do, I remember of how my life has changed since 8 years ago when Mom first found me. I had gone without trusting anyone for 2 years, then suddenly having a family of my own. Kino and Yui have been my best friends for years, and we share everything with each other. Mom also helps us train a bit since she knows we want to get into UA and become heroes like her. She also offered me a recommendation since I don't do so well with crowds, but I turned her down. I wanted to prove I could get this myself and not have to rely on Mom more than I should. She already did so much for me that I wanted to give her reason why I was worth it all. So Izuku, when's the next time we get to train with DekuxHarem? That may be a while. She said that and Tamaki are busy with their hero internships this round and wanted to get stronger. Yui smiles at this. They really are hard workers. Aunt Ryu and Uncle Fat wouldn't allow them in their agencies if they weren't. About a year and a half back, Aunt Ryu and Uncle Fat had introduced two people that they were doing a work study with to me. I learned them to be Nejire Hato and Tamaki Amajiki. When they were told about me and how I got my scar, they felt horrible with Nejire hugging me there. I panicked a bit before calming down into the hug. Since then, they occasionally come over to talk and help me with my work training. Things are a little uneasy with me and Nejire since I had noticed her womanly features, if you can call that a reason. I still care for her a lot, but this is something I have problems with. Fortunately, Tamaki took a liking to me rather quickly as well, and we talk about ways to handle crowds together. These two were also the ones that helped me pick up the guitar. In a matter of days, I was strumming like a pro has done it for years. We should probably hurry up. We're going to be late. Right. At school. As we sat in the classroom, the teacher came in with a stack of papers big enough to overshadow his head before getting to his desk. All right everyone. You're third years, so I need you to take these applications and fill out career futures. He tosses them in the air though and smiles. But who am I kidding? You all want to become heroes. Everyone cheered and started using their quirk. The only ones that didn't were me, Kino, and Yui. Yes, I know you all have amazing quirks. But it's against the rules to use them on school grounds, so please stop. The teacher glanced at a folder he had and held a shocked face. It seems Kodai, Komori, and Yu Sagayama are applying for UA. Everyone stopped and looked at us. Ahahaha. Komori and Kodai. Yu Sagayama may get in cause of his weird family, but those two are gonna fail miserably. I heard this and turned to the two. They were ignoring this and minding their own business. The only time they made eye contact with anyone was when they felt me stare at them. I gave them a worried look from the mocking with their faces giving a smile saying they were fine. I turned my head back with everyone, done laughing at this point. School went on as normal with everyone going home after school. Once we got out of school, Yui and Kino pulled me to our normal hangout spot so I can start playing. So what do you two want to hear today? Maybe something nice sounding? Something that shows your badassness, Shroom. Since I started playing guitar, Kino and Yui have always wanted me to play for them. They say it makes them feel special, and I was happy to oblige. When we got to the cafe, the manager smiled and told us that the corner we normally sit in is ours. Once we sat down, I pulled out my guitar and put it in tune before we started. Okay, so I want to do two songs today. One's an acoustic that you'd be a fan of Yui, and another is a parody of a badass character Kino. I took a deep breath before starting the acoustic. When I was strumming, Yui smiled hearing her favorite band. My mind started remembering our training together with Yui getting very discouraged with me giving her help when she needed it. Memories like these made me happy that I was alive. It made me look at everything and say, I made a difference with someone. Near the end of the song, I started to hear clapping to the beat with everyone in the cafe tuning with the song. When I finished, everyone clapped with Yui smiling at me. Okay, so Kino, you wanna hear yours? Yes. Okay, ahem. As I played, Kino knew immediately what I was playing and smiled. I want that well with rapping yet, but I gave it my best try here and did what I thought was the best I could. When it was over, I put my guitar away with everyone clapping again. Okay, so here's your usuals, and thank you again kid for your help. My pleasure ma'am. When we first came here, I was strumming a bit outside with the manager coming out to hear. She said she was gonna tell me to stop, but had second thoughts and asked if I could strum a bit inside whenever I'm there as entertainment. I didn't mind it since I liked their tea and I was able to play. Nobody seemed to mind it either since it was live entertainment that sounded nice. After we relaxed a bit and paid, we started walking home with Yui and Kino stopping in front of me. Hey Izuku, can we ask you a question Shroom? Sure. They started to blush a bit before Yui asks a question. What do you think of me and Kanoko, as in, relationship-wise? I thought for a second before answering. I really like you both. They looked at me straight-faced as I realized what they meant. You mean like dating relationship, don't you? They nod. I don't think I can answer that easily. You both are very precious to me. Kino, you're confident, happy, and always holds their head up. Yui, you're compassionate, caring, and supportive when someone needs it. If told to pick which of you I wanted to be with, I can't choose between either of you. I'm sorry. I held my head down as they started to laugh. What's so funny? You. They answered together with me completely confused. We knew you would never be able to choose between us, Shroom, so we made a pact that we would be fine with an open relationship. Huh. Kino's right. We talked about it with your mom, and she was cool with you having a harem. Damn it, Mom, what did you put in their heads? Wait, I'm pretty sure a harem would consist of more than just 2 girls. We know. We're saying we're fine with you bringing more girls in our relationship since we're pretty sure Nejire likes you. But we have one condition, we are above everyone and are your number ones. I smile at them before walking up to hug them. I don't see a problem with that. They both kiss my cheek to make me go red from this. How about we head home before it gets too late to train? Sure. As we walked home, we passed a crowd of people who were watching in an one-way street. What's going on, Shroom? Let's check it out. That is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. And please comment down below what you guys want to see next. I'll see you in the next video.